right, guys. So, what do you get when you cross Darth Vader with an elephant?
But
Yeah, I don't know.
An elevator.
and this elevator is going down, baby. Wow.
That was actually pretty good, but it was kind of corny too.
Oh no, it was terrible, but it was.
Well, cheese and corn are one of the many things that we serve here at the Real Heroes podcast. So
Comes out of one end.
Here we are. We're here. It's another episode. We are going to be discussing season 2, episode 6 of The Mandalorian, chapter 14, entitled "The Tragedy," directed by one Robert Rodriguez. Corey, Nick, and Kevin here again for the Real Heroes. Guys, this episode, a little bit of fanboy wet dream, huh?
A little bit, yeah.
Can we just start off by saying Hail Favreau?
That's a little cult worshipy, but I mean, sure, we can.
Yeah, it is, Corey. Yes, it is.
This is the Church of Favreau and Filoni podcast.
No, this episode was unreal. I had people that I hadn't talked to in 6 or 8 months texting me going, "Oh my God, this week's episode!" I'm like, of course I did.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's.
I've noticed a lot of people have been reaching out saying, "Hey, have you watched the episode?" And I'm like, 3 times already by the time you texted me this question. So,
yep.
Fuck, I'm a nerd. Yeah, and it's 10 o'clock in the morning on Friday. Yeah, so going through this episode, we figured we'd talk about 3 main points that drive through, just because for as awesome as it was, there wasn't a whole lot to it. It's a relatively short episode. The script was only 19 pages. Robert Rodriguez revealed during an interview, which is completely nuts because that should translate to like 19 minutes of television time. But Favreau told him, "No, that's what you're here for. You have to add all the action." They got it up to like a 32-minute episode or so. So to start out, let's just peel that fucking Band-Aid off. Let's talk about Boba Fett. Now, Kevin, since you're the oldest one of us and you were alive when the original trilogy came out, I'm going to defer to you. What thought went through your mind when Slave One came across that screen?
So the same thing happened that happened just now, just when you said the word Slave One, which is like, I just got full body chills.
Word.
I mean, we're watching the episode and it's intentionally ominous, right? Like you can tell some shit's going to go sideways here shortly, but you don't know exactly what it is. And, when I heard a ship, initially I thought Gideon, because we know that he's been tracking them. That he's going to pop up sooner or later.
Right.
It's like, oh crap, here it goes. It's about to go down. And then they pan up and you see Slave One, and my whole body just like shivers. And I was like, oh God. And Sydney's sitting there next to me going, what?
She doesn't understand.
What is that ship? And I was like, that's Slave One. She's like, that's a dumb looking ship. And I'm like,
wow.
Didn't y'all just get engaged recently?
Yeah.
There is still time.
It was
blasphemy right there.
I know, right? No, it was, just one of those moments where you're like, I've waited so long for this. I mean, because when was the last time we saw it? Was Empire, right?
Yeah, it doesn't even show up in Jedi.
Well, no, we saw it in the prequels as well, but the last time in sequence order was in Empire. So
yeah,
it's been some time, and it was always kind of one of my favorite toys. And I don't know, there's just so much mystique with that ship, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. So going into it, Nick, we're on Tython and we see this ship, and did you think that, like, for me, I was like, my immediate reaction was, oh shit, is he after the kid? But it turns out he was actually after his armor, which to a degree I get. He wants his armor back. Did you get like a really weird, like, sick feeling in your stomach when you saw Slave One, because you were like, oh no, this isn't going to go well for the child?
I mean, I got a bad, not to be super
Bad feeling
cliche
about this.
for Star Wars, but like I got a bad feeling about this. I got that feeling when it first showed the episode of the title, when it says the tragedy, and I'm like, whatever came of any good news when you saw that in a like a synopsis of the episode or a movie or anything like that. I mean, there's a bunch of tragedies that fucking Shakespeare wrote, nothing ever good happened to them. So I think it was more or less wondering when something bad might happen. And yeah, when Slave One comes in, I'm like, thinking that I'm freaking out as well, because I'm like, oh my God, is that Slave One? Oh my God, is that Slave One? Like, please tell me Boba Fett is in that ship.
Not somebody else, right? What a downer
Right,
that would have been.
well, yeah. Like, I almost thought, like, what if someone else has his ship at that point? Like, because it was like the same thing. Like, well, someone else had his armor. Why couldn't someone else have his ship?
Right.
But I think thinking back to maybe when Boba escaped the Sarlacc pit, he knew where it was parked in essence, right? And he was able to go back to it and kind of salvage his life from there. But the fact that Fennec was with him didn't really bode well at first. And then there was like the meme when she's like, you look like you just saw a ghost, and he's just standing there and he has a mask on. Like, how could you tell that he's seeing a ghost at all? But like, it's like the nonverbal communication. Like he was stuck in his tracks.
Yeah.
He just didn't keep walking forward. Like, who's this dude asking for this Mandalorian armor that I got that I'm trying to take back, to another Mandalorian, basically. Right. And he's like, no, that belongs in my family too. I'm just as much as a Mandalorian as you are, or rather a foundling. But yeah, no, it was
his dad.
Yeah, his dad was a foundling, so he's like, the son of a foundling, I guess technically, right? But I was relieved.
Instead of son of a bitch, it's son of a foundling.
Son of a foundling.
Son of a foundling.
Hashtag you
heard
it. You heard it here. You heard it here first in the Real Heroes podcast.
That's right.
No, I was relieved to see that he's like, no, we're gonna join sides with you, right?
Right.
And of course, there's that, and it was intentional. That one like second of panning to Mando taking off his jetpack and putting it against a rock. I'm like, that right there is a tragedy waiting to happen.
Absolutely. He sets that down. He shouldn't have set that down.
Yep.
Something's going to happen. He's going to need to have that on his back. And, when they turned and started running up the hill, I was like, and he forgot his fucking jetpack.
Yeah.
It's really fascinating. It's like a case study in all the weird things that happen to your psyche when you see that the title of an episode is the tragedy. You're just sitting there on pins and needles wondering, well, fuck, what's going to go wrong now? What is it here? Is it there? And it turns out that pretty much anything that could have gone wrong in this episode for Mando and the baby did, which was unfortunate. But getting back onto Boba.
I think.
What's that?
It was great that they named it like that, letting you know ahead of time. It does create that tension in the back of your head, and you're just like, when is the needle gonna drop? It's just it was fantastic.
The title cards, they're so great for a multitude of reasons. One is that, but like also this season we haven't known what the names of the episodes were going to be. So like every week you're leading up and it's like, oh man, what's this one going to be called? And then that when that boom 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 hits, you're going to get the title and you're going to have some sort of ideas to what weird shit they're getting into this week. And then it said the tragedy and it was like, oh no, maybe I don't want to watch this one.
Well, for the sake of a comparison, right? Like when the previous episode title came up, right, and it says the Jedi, I was all smiles in good feels. Right. This week, it's the complete opposite. It's a blank stare and not a good feeling. Like, oh shit, like. But I mean, obviously we'll cover it all, but there are multiple tragedies in this episode.
Oh yeah, big time.